Hello, and welcome to God Hour main course for September 11th. And let us not forget the people that died on this date in 2001. And let us also not forget Charlie Kirk, who was gunned down yesterday. Uh, but that's not what God Hour is about, really. I just felt I'd be remiss not to mention those events. But we're continuing with Matthew chapter 14, King James Version, as is my wont. Just first captioned from place to place. Verse 1. At that time, Herod the Tetrarch, which Tetrarch would mean a leader that is a fourth, in Tetrarchy would be a government led by four people. I'm pretty sure tetrahedron has four sides. Arch means rule. So instead of a monarch, he's a tetrarch. Anyway, at that time, Herod the Tetrarch heard of the fame of Jesus and said unto his servants, This is John the Baptist. He is risen from the dead, and therefore mighty works do shew forth themselves in him. For Herod had laid hold on John and bound him and put him in prison for Herodias' sake, his brother Philip's wife. For John said unto him, It is not lawful for thee to have her. And when he would have put him to death, he feared the multitude, because they counted him as a prophet. You get why was not lawful for him to have his brother's wife. I think that speaks for itself. But anyway. Verse 6, But when Herod's birthday was kept, the daughter of Herodias danced before him and pleased Herod. Whereupon he promised with an oath to give her whatsoever she would ask. And she, being before instructed of her mother, said, Give me here John Baptist's head in a charger. And the king was sorry. Nevertheless, for the oath's sake, and them which sat with him at meat, he commanded it be given her. And he sent and beheaded John in the prison. And his head was brought in a charger and given to the damsel, and she brought it to her mother. And his disciples came and took up the body and buried it, and went and told Jesus. Not very happy news, to continue the trend of unhappy news we've been having. But you see the situation Herod was put in. He promised her whatever she wanted. He wasn't expecting her to demand something so horrible. But with everybody in witness, he couldn't go back on his word, lest he be seen weak, and a weak ruler is not a ruler for very long, and so on and so on. So caption, into a desert place, verse 13. When Jesus heard of it, he departed thence by ship into a desert place apart. And when the people had heard thereof, they followed him on foot out of the cities. And Jesus went forth and saw a great multitude, and was moved with compassion toward them, and he healed their sick. And you gotta realize, and I've said this many times, Jesus was like a rock star. I mean, beyond a rock star. He was able to heal people, even bring people back to life. You can imagine the groupies he had following him everywhere he went. And he couldn't get a moment's privacy and peace to do things that people want or should do in private, such as pray. In any case, caption, feeding 5,000, verse 15. And when it was evening, his disciples came to him, saying, This is a desert place, and the time is now. Send the multitude away, that they may go into the villages and buy themselves victuals, food. But Jesus said unto them, They need not depart. Give ye them to eat. And they say unto him, We have here but 5 loaves and 2 fishes. He said, Bring them hither to me. And he commanded the multitude to sit down on the grass, and took the 5 loaves and the 2 fishes, and looking up to heaven, he blessed and brake, and gave the loaves to his disciples, and the disciples to the multitude. And they did all eat, and were filled, and they took up the fragments that remained, 12 baskets full. And they that had eaten were about 5,000 men, beside women and children. So not only did 5,000 men get to eat, along with the women and children, but in addition to that, there were leftovers from 5 loaves of bread and 2 fishes. And I know if you're not Christian, if you don't believe in the Bible, you're going to reject this as impossible. And I understand that. It sounds impossible with anything short of a miracle. And that's the essence of it. Nothing is impossible when it comes to God. Miracles are possible, and we do see miracles day in and day out. Whether we call them miracles in the religious sense, but we see people overcoming cancer that the doctors told them they would surely die in 3-6 months' time, going on to live many years. We usually call that a miracle. Myself, I was in a coma for several weeks, and then in a wheelchair for a few years, and so on. And the doctors thought that, considering I had bone fragments in my eyeballs, and a concussion, and probably brain damage, and since my spinal cord was damaged and my back broken, they thought paralysis was a distinct possibility. Maybe not even waking up from the coma. So dying, vegetative state, paralysis, or paraplegic were my prognoses. Or blindness. One of those was bound to happen according to the doctors. And none of them came to pass. I call that a miracle. But continuing on. Caption, Walking on the Sea, verse 22. And straightway Jesus constrained his disciples to get into a ship, and to go before him unto the other side, while he sent the multitudes away. And when he had sent the multitudes away, he went up into a mountain apart to pray. And when the evening was come, he was there alone. But the ship was now in the midst of the sea, tossed with waves, for the wind was contrary. And in the 4th watch of the night, Jesus went unto them, walking on the sea. And when the disciples saw him walking on the sea, they were troubled, saying, It is a spirit, and they cried out for fear. But straightway Jesus spake unto them, saying, Be of good cheer, it is I, be not afraid. And Peter answered him and said, Lord, if it be thou, bid me come unto thee on the water. And he said, Come. And when Peter was come down out of the ship, he walked on the water to go to Jesus. But when he saw the wind boisterous, he was afraid, and beginning to sink, he cried, saying, Lord, save me. And immediately Jesus stretched forth his hand, caught him, and said unto him, O thou of little faith, wherefore didst thou doubt? And remember, wherefore is antique language for why. So we could look at that. O you of little faith, why did you doubt? Uh, verse 32. And when they were coming to the ship, the wind ceased. Then they that were in the ship came and worshipped him, saying, O, of a truth, thou art the Son of God. Caption at Gennesaret. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right. Verse 34. And when they were gone over, they came into the land of Gennesaret. And when the men of that place had knowledge of him, they sent out into all that country round about, and brought unto him all that were diseased, and besought him that they might only touch the hem of his garment. And as many as touched were made perfectly whole. Okay. There is a lot of happy news there in that chapter. Started off pretty horrible with John the Baptist being executed, but there's some really good stuff in there too. But the underlying message is faith. When Peter doubted, he began to sink. And that's when Jesus rebuked him, "O thou little faith." Just keep your faith strong and you have nothing to worry about. And that applies to this day. Well, I need to go to work. I know I've been saying that every day for like the past 7 days, but that's just the way it's been. So thank you all. Please throw your comments, opinions, dissenting or agreeing. Likes and subscribes are always very much appreciated, especially subscribes, because we only need 10 more subscribes to get to that magic 50 number to start doing this live, where we can interact in real time with each other on God Hour. I would very much love to do that. But that's me, and in the meantime, I will use the tools and abilities presented to me, available to me, and go from there. God bless you all. Have a good day, and let us not forget the heroes and innocents that were cruelly taken from us this day 24 years ago. God bless once more.